Most people are doing outbound LinkedIn completely wrong. And the worst part is they're taking advice from so-called experts who haven't closed a software deal in years. I'm Halen Yules. I'm the founder of ScaleMate. I've personally closed millions in software deals across 3 separate continents. I've been the #1 account executive in APAC for the previous 2 companies that I work for. And today I'm going to go through 4 controversial truths about outbound LinkedIn that the sales gurus out there won't tell you. Let's dive in. Just building an ICP is not enough these days. Anyone can build an ideal customer profile. Everyone has access to Apollo, ZoomInfo, Clay, etc., etc., etc. You need a way more structured approach, way more targeted approach. So first, yes, you do still have to define an ICP with company firmographics, contact demographics. That is still valid. Second step is to overlay intent signals, and I'll go into a framework there. And third is to define an exact problem statement for each ICP segment. Okay, so what do I mean by intent signals? Firstly, intent signals, there's 3 major types. One is the lead has taken an action on your company. They've looked at your website, they've filled out a form, they've opened an email, whatever it is, it's on an action against your specific brand or company or product. Second is they've taken an action against your industry. What do I mean by that? They have followed one of your competitors on LinkedIn, one of their company pages. They've engaged with an industry post. They've liked a post. They've commented on a post, something that isn't specifically against your company, but is still very, very valid to your industry. Third, they've taken an action against their own company. So that could be they've just raised some funds or they've just released a publication, right? That's the framework of intent signals we use at ScaleMate, with obviously #1 being higher conversion down to #3. So once you define your ICP, your industries, your employee counts, your job titles, your functions, all that sort of stuff, the standard fields, then you need to overlay intent using that framework. And third, now you need to define exact problem statements that is going to dictate your messaging when you send messages either on LinkedIn, on email, whatever it is, to those ICP segments. 3 steps, takes you a lot longer. Conversions can be 5-10x higher if you do this correctly. People write long-winded sentences, paragraphs. #1, people aren't going to read it. They literally just don't have time. And #2 is you probably have a whole bunch of marketing fluff words that don't add any value to the person reading and receiving the message. So what do? They exit out, move on to the next. What actually works? Short, to the point, direct messages, some level of intent signal underlying it. Maybe you mention it in the message itself, hint at a problem or solution that you solve for, and a very simple call to action or an easy next step to take. That's what works on LinkedIn today. Requests aren't dead, but they are definitely on life support. What do I mean by that? Well, did you know that 40% of LinkedIn accounts have what they call an open profile, which means you do not need to send them a connection request. You do not need to wait until they accept your connection request to be able to send a prospect a message. It goes directly to an in-mail inbox, which is now part of the regular inbox. It never used to be. It used to be off to the side. No one ever used to read it. LinkedIn have made a change, and it's an absolute game changer. Like a McKinsey consultant on LinkedIn, speak like a human and you'll get much better results. Everyone's doing the whole polished corporate, it's LinkedIn, it's not Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Look and feel to their messages on LinkedIn. I don't think it works. I often use abbreviations, acronyms all the time, especially in my responses. Maybe not in first message. It should be somewhat professional, obviously. But people don't care. People do not really care on LinkedIn. It's a much more social, free platform than an email, where I agree, you do probably have to sound a little bit more professional. LinkedIn, it's hurting your chances to sound overly professional, all the correct grammar, no acronyms, no abbreviations, no emojis. I would take the opposite approach, is to start conversations, build relationships, and probably, at least in my line of business, is to book meetings and actually have real conversations with real people on the other end of that profile. I know some of these strategies are quite in the weeds for LinkedIn, but it's what we do day in, day out. We send tens of thousands of messages per month. We've booked hundreds, if not thousands of meetings per year for us and our clients, specifically on LinkedIn, using a lot of the same strategies that I just outlined today. So if you'd like to know more, go to our website, scalemate.io, sign up to our newsletter. We release monthly strategies and tactics for LinkedIn, email, GTM, sales in general. And if you'd like to book a call with me directly, I'll put a link in the description.